The 25th of April 1915, the first day of the landing at Anzac Cove, there were some 5,000 casualties. 5,000 on the first day. These were brave young men, separated from their families, but fighting for a cause they believed in. Casualties tend to be low in the priorities of the warrior class, almost by necessity. The planning for the engagement was rushed, and despite the efforts of Neal VC, who oversaw the medical services for the Australian Imperial Force, but it went ahead anyway. Today, despite a greater understanding of the physical and mental wounds that follow military engagements, we still have a weak underbelly when it comes to the supporting of our veterans and those who are transferring from military to civil life. For Anzac Day this year, I was invited to address the theme of the struggle. The struggle. An acknowledgement of the struggles faced by our men and women and their families in the aftermath of military service. It struck me that most young Anzacs in those days didn't do much travelling, so separation from home was far more acute than it would be for us today. Neal VC made sure that only the fittest men were recruited, and on the ship over to the Middle East made sure that physical fitness was a priority, exercising them every day. This probably helped to fill in the separation and occupy their minds. The development of mateship has in part an element of compensation for the situation that they found themselves in. In a way, the separation and isolation we're experiencing today with coronavirus have something in common with those men who served. While we don't face a visible enemy, we're acutely aware of the risks that surround us. Today, we have many frontline service personnel put in harm's way looking after those who've contracted the virus. Anzac Day commemorates the lives of so many Australians who have died from our earliest days right up to the present. It also includes the suffering of the wounded and the impact on so many families. Most Anzacs died far away from home without the support of their families, but of course they had the support of their mates. While here in Australia, the number of deaths from coronavirus has been small, reports from overseas have shown many people dying very isolated deaths, lonely in the absence of their family, albeit in the presence of dedicated nursing staff. This situation is made even worse with the restriction on the number of people who can attend funerals. When thousands of people die in a very short time as a result of a pandemic or impact of war, we are reminded of our very human nature and the impact that war has on our communities. In the battlefield, lonely deaths were common and anticipated. Farewell letters were often given to their mates to take home to their families. I'm reminded of the words attributed to Kemal Ataturk, the victor at Gallipoli, who graciously said, "Heroes who shed their blood and lost their lives, you are now lying in the soil of a friendly country. Therefore, rest in peace." You, the mothers who sent their sons from faraway countries, wipe away your tears. Your sons are now lying in our bosom and are in peace. This was a recognition of a separation and loss, as well as a social contract implied by mothers releasing their sons for service to their country. All along the Hunter Valley, from Newcastle to Murrurundi, there are memorials to commemorate the sons who served and the many that died. The names of men, often multiple from the same family, all volunteers, reflect the tragedy of war. There was an understanding that as a nation, we released our sons and daughters to fight without conscription, but they would be cared for upon their return home. Nonetheless, many returned servicemen and women, along with their families, struggled in the aftermath of war. Albert Camus, writing in 1947 of the plague in Algeria, noted the chief source of stress, the deepest as well as the most widespread issue, was separation. This was in fact an allegory for the treatment of Jewish people by the Nazis, but it is relevant to all wars. Not only does physical separation impact those separated, but the mental effect can be unseen and long-lasting. Traumatic stress disorder is a recently recognised condition whose existence has always followed war, and even during the fighting itself. In death, there's a certain peacefulness that comes over the body. The muscles of the face relax and the scars of life disappear, free at last. Now, when it comes to the ode of remembrance, these words ring true. They shall not grow old as we who are left grow old. Age will not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of a sun, or in the morning, we shall remember them, lest we forget.